Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You of BookTube, ComicTube, and YouTube in general. It is me, Jim, better known also as Sandman Mystery Media, where we talk about pulp magazines, vintage fantasy and science fiction, crazy movies from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, mainly, Universal horror, big bug films, kaiju films, and 50s and 60s sci-fi and fantasy, um, music, and anything else that may tickle my fancy. Okay. Today, I'm going to show you some of my favorite book series. Now, there are going to be actually a couple of there's no like top 10 or anything, but for me to read them over, they had to grip me, they had to mean something to me at a particular time in my life, and there's a reason why I go back and read them at least once a year. Now, I do have a couple of what do they call them, almosts, that got in there. Honorable mentions. That's it. And we'll go through those first. The first honorable mention, and only because I haven't read enough of it yet. I know I like this series, but I'm only about to start the third book. So it's not in the top, oh, I'm going to read this again and again yet. Okay. And that would be Jim Butcher's Dresden Files. See, I'm on book 3, Blood Rights. Read the first one, loved it. Read the second one, even better than the first, even if it was too gory for me. But hey, I should have known that going in, because you're dealing with werewolves in the second book, you know? And this third one sounds hilarious. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. Okay. But as of yet, I haven't made a decision, because this is an 18 book series so far. I don't know if I'm willing to read 18 books again and again and again and again. You know what I'm saying? All right. So that is an honorable mention. The next series that is an honorable mention, say what you will about this writer. I know some people don't like him for various reasons, but this particular series was incredible. And this series is The Incarnations of Immortality by Piers Anthony, specifically Volume 1, On a Pale Horse, about death, and Volume 2, Bearing an Hourglass, about Kronos, the Master of Time. And actually, I read Volume 2 when I was like 18, 19 years old and got hooked on it. And this Michael Whelan cover is just incredible. I mean, I'm a big Doctor Who fan too. So the Lord of Time interested me, and he looks like he could be Doctor Who Gallifreyan right there. I'm sorry, he just does. These two books in the series are really awesome. The one about Mars or war, the one about Mother Nature, the one about the muses, and then the one about the devil and God. I just, no, I didn't. But these two, yeah. Do I read them all the time? No. I read them every couple of years or so, because I want to remember how good they were. Okay. Dated? Yes. Still good? Yes. Say what you will about these. So that's why it's not the whole series, just these first two are awesome books. That's why it's in my honorable mentions. Now, the first series that I read at least once a year is the Collected John Carter of Mars, Volume 1. This has the first 3 books in it: A Princess of Mars, The Gods of Mars, and The Warlords of Mars. And I love it. Phenomenal series. I go back and read and reread this because it's just fun, pulpy, awesome stuff. Rice Burroughs is a great writer. I don't care what people say about it being dated. Oh, he's racist, blah, blah. No, he's not. This is just good stuff. stuff. There's nothing racist in this. In the past 3 years, I've read this big book at least 3 times. I don't know if there are in the other books yet, but if there are, I will find out because I do have them loose over there and I will eventually get to them. But these are just fun, escapist sword and planet stories, man. I think sometimes when it comes to the older stuff, people confuse the writer with the writing. And now, yeah, I can see where that happens with H.P. Lovecraft, who is one of my favorite authors. Because he did let his xenophobia and flat out racism come into a lot of his stories. But Edgar Rice Burroughs, not so much, man. Not so much. Anyway, the next series that I love so much is Fritz Lieber's Fafford and the Gray Mouser. This, you're going to notice most of what I'm showing are like book club editions and whatnot. And that would be because I liked the book club encounters. And when I was young, I belonged to the science fiction and fantasy book club where you got the 5 books for 99 cents. Then you were obligated to buy at least 1 book a month after for a certain amount of time. All right. So this volume has the first 3 books, Swords Against Wizardry, The Swords of Lankmar, and Swords and Ice Magic. So, yeah, I mean, Lieber was great. The Gray Mouser was awesome. Fafford was just cool. And they were very fun. Okay? They were fun. And fun is important. If they're not having fun, you're not having fun. Unless it's incredibly deep dive storytelling, So I really dig these guys. And I'm going to try to find another collected volume that has the other 3 books, so that I can finish reading. I used to have all the paperbacks, but then I had a fire and not a lot of stuff survived. This was many years ago, though, that I had that fire. I was 35, I think. I mean, so that was almost 25 years ago. Yeah. Next up, speaking of H.P. Lovecraft, is what they consider, this is the old 1982 Delray Ballantyne edition of the best of H.P. Lovecraft. Yes, it has typos and all in here, but in 1982, this was my first exposure to H.P. Lovecraft. While now I have the complete H.P. Lovecraft down there, and I have the annotated H.P. Lovecraft Volume 1, and Volume 2 will be on the way soon, I'm sure. This was my first exposure, and I love coming back to this because this particular volume had some of my most favorite HPL stories in it of all diggity dang time. Like The Outsider, Pickman's Model, In the Vault, The Silver Key. I love the Randolph Carter stories, the dream stories. Oh, great stuff. The Call of Cthulhu, The Dunwich Horror, The Color Out of Space, The Shadow over Innsmouth, The Shadow Out of Time, The Thing on the Doorstep. Just good, scary stuff, Say what you will about the man. Was he a xenophobe? Yes. Was he a racist? Yes. Do I like what he named his cat? Oh, heck no, I do not like what he named his cat. I did not think that was cool. But, I mean, he helped create the genre of weird fiction. And he created a mythos that is loved the world over by writers and readers alike. So that's something to keep in mind, okay? Now, many people are going to say, well, Jim, I understand what you're saying, but you've also said many horrible things about Neil Gaiman, and Neil Gaiman is just a writer, and you got to separate the art from the artist. And it's like, well, hey, there's a line you do not cross. Okay. For example, I'm not going to read or keep any Marion Zimmerman Bradley books once I found out what she did. Okay, there rape and the P word on kids, that's the line you just don't cross. Drugs and alcohol, I expect that from writers because I was exposed to the Beat Generation writers. You know, the Gentleman Junkie, William S. Burroughs, Allen Ginsberg, and Jack Kerouac. You know, I'm okay with that. But you get into the deviant, demonic stuff. No, I'm not gonna. No, I'm not gonna support you. So that's why I don't support Neil Gaiman. That's why I don't support Marion Zimmerman Bradley, but I still support Robert E. Howard and HPL. Okay, moving on to a writer who, as far as I know, doesn't really have anything like that going on. He's probably my favorite, almost my favorite writer. It's a toss-up between this guy and Robert E. Howard. Michael Moorcock, and I have 2 series here of his that I read all the time, and I mean all the time. First one is the 6-book series of the Chronicles of Coram, the Swords trilogy, and the Chronicles. So we're looking at the King of Swords, the Queen of Swords, the Knight of Swords, the Bull and Spear, the Oak and the Ram, and the Sword and the Stallion. And it's all part of that multiversal Eternal Warrior series. And you're saying, but Jim, what about his most favorite Eternal Warrior of all time? Oh, no, I've got that right here. Elric. Elric almost took the #1 spot for me, but without my #1 spot, Elric would have never been made. Okay. I love the original 6-book saga. Yes, these are the book club editions. Yeah, and as you can tell, this one is really, volume 1 is really, cover, it needs help. This one is very nice, the second one. Yeah, I do have the other books, and yes, I got the newest one that Michael Moorcock did, which takes place right in the middle of Stormbringer, right before the big fight, okay, between Law and Chaos. But still, these 6 books, this is a classic in dark fantasy, okay, before Carl Edward Wagner came along and really defined what dark fantasy is. So, yes, Elric of Melniboné, phenomenal, awesome series. And then, come on, you guys didn't know this was going to be #1? Robert E. Howard, the Conan Saga. Now, while this may not have the most beautiful, well-drawn cover, because, this book is a British edition, but the great thing is it's all the original unabridged adventures. So I've got everything Robert E. Howard did on Conan in one freaking book, and I love it. It's thick, it's gorgeous. They even have new art for the stories. Yeah. Now, because this is a tome, this is almost as thick as my 1611 Bible that my son got me for Christmas. So I don't read this as often as I should. I don't read it every year. I probably read it, I read a couple stories out of it every year. But they're always different. It's always good. And we got to remember, without Robert E. Howard, there would be no such thing as sword and sorcery. He started it. And then with some help from people like C.L. Moore and Fritz Leiber, I mean, they were all in the Weird Tales thing, and they all created their own stuff. But nobody beats the man from Texas. All right. So those are my favorite series that I read over and over again. Now, The reason I didn't include any pulps in there, like the Shadow or Doc Savage or the Avenger, is because then the list would have been much longer and the video would have been much longer too. Because there's so many cool pulps out there. I might have to do some of my favorite pulp books series ever. That would have to be a separate video because I've already gone 15 minutes now. Thank you for watching. Comment below which of what I've shown was your favorite and what you like to read regularly. I'd love to know what books are your favorites, you know. Don't have to be vintage stuff like what I read. I'm an old fart and I'm stuck in my ways and I like what I like. But I'm happy to see that. In the meantime, God bless y'all and stay tuned for the next video. Whenever you're watching this, I hope you're making it a great day. Bye for now.